Got it.
There we are. All right. Hello, hello, everyone. I'm happy today to introduce you to my friend Crissy. She's an amazing woman. Ever since I met Crissy, I just felt her love and kindness and acceptance. So I'm honored to be able to share her story with you, and you'll have lots to learn from her. So thanks for being here, Crissy. Great to connect
Thank
with you.
you. I'm so excited to connect with you again, as anytime we get together, we can talk for hours. So we'll try to keep it nice and brief, but and inspiring and empowering. But I know you and I have so much in common and have so much love for helping ourselves and helping others too. So thank you for, allowing me to come on and trust me with your crew as well.
Thank you so much. I think we either met by me attending your yoga class or you coming to a fitness class when I very first started teaching fitness, like almost 8 years ago. And I remember appreciating how you were so enthusiastic. You're doing a great job. You're so great. I was like, oh my gosh, this amazing woman thinks I'm doing a good job. I think I'm doing okay here. So I just always really remember that and appreciated that, because it was like stepping out of my comfort zone from taking care of patients in the hospital, putting myself out there, come and work out with me. And you were always so kind and so supportive. I really appreciate that.
Well, I feel like, we all start from somewhere. I mean, when I first started teaching yoga, gosh, it's probably about 12, 13 years ago now. I started in LA Fitness, and that, we all have to start from somewhere. So, and I just believe full heartedly just supporting awesome people, number one, but also women in general too, because there's so much around oh, women can't support women and they're very catty and kind of all that nonsense. So I just love to break through that concept and just support people in general, and especially awesome people like you.
I love that you said that, because I think that whole women not supporting women is such an old concept, and it's so needed that we support other women as well as all humans. And what a difference it makes, right? When we come to life with this collaboration kind of mindset versus competition, because we all know there's somebody for everybody, and there's enough to go around.
There's enough to go around.
There really is. What led you to become a yoga teacher?
Way back when my friend had just gotten her certification, and I just went into it with not even the mindset of I would be a teacher. I really just kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about it. And I did just kind of a quick weekend little thing. And then over maybe probably 2 years later, I decided I really want to go and get my 200 hour, and I did 200 hours with therapeutic yoga in a therapeutic yoga setting. And just from that moment, I fell in love with just everything yoga, the philosophy, the history, what it did for myself, for my body, for my energy, for my mental state. And just with anything in life, the more energy you give to something, the more you return. And I just wanted to just keep on learning more and more and more about yoga and how it could help me and how it could help others. And not just physically, right? Mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, all the things. And it really has helped me throughout my life with so many things. So
can you give us a before you started with a solid yoga practice, and then once you really got into it, what was that before and after for you? How did it help you?
Yeah, I think initially a lot of people may start to get into yoga because the physical aspects that they get from it, right? You feel good right away, and you start to get leaner and more flexible and stronger, and all the things. So I think initially it was that. And then as I started to learn more and more about releasing, feeling grounded, the energy work behind it, the spirituality work behind it, I just naturally started to open my eyes to more things. And I think one of them, and I think the world needs this right now, and I might tear up a little bit. I wasn't expecting that at all, Brittany. Oh my gosh. I think the world needs to understand that we are one. we are all one. We are all connected. And I think that that concept really stuck with me, because that's what yoga means, to unite, to yoke. We're all one, but yet we're different. We may look different, but we all breathe, we all bleed red, we all, all the
We're all
things.
human
So
beings,
we're
right?
all human
Despite the things
beings.
that separate us, there's a lot
Yeah.
that connects us and
Yeah.
unites
And I,
us.
I feel like growing up, I gravitated towards like a spiritual lifestyle, but I didn't know about it when I was younger and in high school. And then when I started learning about things, I'm like, oh my, okay, wow, it's in me. And I think yoga was just one avenue that allowed me to explore a lot of that even more. And then unfortunately, back in 2020, I did get diagnosed with breast cancer. And, there were so many people that said, wow, Crissy, if you can get it, I'm scared for myself, because I quote unquote thought I was a healthy person before cancer. And, there is something to be said about being healthy before a diagnosis or before disease starts to, wreak havoc in your body, because I was as healthy as I was before with my mental state. I was a happy person. I wasn't a very stressed out person. But life stressors here and there. I worked out, I tried to eat fairly good and clean, but yet boom, breast cancer still wreaked havoc in my body and expressed itself. But I think that it truly, truly helped me in my journey to becoming cancer free as I am right now. It's now been 3 years. And I really think it helped me create this beautiful journey to becoming even more connected to myself. And again, I'm gonna like tear up a little bit, because in the beginning you hear you have breast cancer, and that is the scariest thing anybody could ever hear. And it rocked my world, of course.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And you start going down the rabbit hole of why and how did this happen to me. And I nipped that right in the bud, because you're never going to get an answer. You can just spiral and spiral and spiral. If you're looking for a why or any kind of answer to those questions, you're never going to get them. So then it's like, okay, well, how do I go through this? How do I shift and change my life? How do I almost in a sense, say goodbye to the person I was before, and, create this new person, this new being that I need to be to fight this.
What do you think helped
So
you have that mindset, right? Because so many times when something tragic like that happens, of course, initially, I think a majority of us, we do go down that rabbit hole. What do you think helped you be able to see that perspective or see that light to say, hold on,
yeah,
what do I do with this? Like, this is going to be a new me moving forward.
I think that the understanding with yoga that we only have this present moment, and thinking about the past really can only just kind of keep you in a depressed state and in the past, and just like kind of slugging along. And if you think about the future too much, you are anxious, and you just be jittery and stressed out and overthinking and all of the things. And yoga taught me to really be present, like be present right here, right now. What do I know right now? And at that time, I knew, okay, I had cancer. Okay, I had to go through chemo. Okay, I have to make all these decisions, but I don't have to make it with a neurotic mindset. And I don't have to make it with the poor woe is me mindset. So I just kind of took what I learned from yoga about just being present and realizing that everything happens to everybody for a reason. We don't know the
We
reason.
might not know why, right?
Yeah, exactly. But almost like, okay, I see you, universe. I see this thing that you're giving to me. What can I do with it? How can I grow from it? And and that's just the mindset that I took. I just was like, all right, I got this. I got this. I'm going to do this. And I don't want to say it's going to be what it's going to be, but in a sense, like with the fighter's mentality behind it, it's going to be what it's going to be. I have no control over this, but I can fight myself tooth and nail to
Right.
get
It's like,
to
what do I have
that
control
point.
over? Okay. My attitude, my perspective, how I take care of myself with this disease, and the final outcome, you know, like all of us in life, we have that impermanence. We're going to pass, and we don't know, typically, I don't think most of us know when that's going to be, and surrendering
Yeah.
to that.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. Surrender. What a beautiful word, right? I literally surrendered to my diagnosis. I just did. It was like, huh. And, unfortunately, it was 2020. So, fortunately and unfortunately, I say unfortunately because as if that year couldn't get any worse. But I say fortunately because COVID was still rampant. I couldn't work. I did not know how my immune system would be. So I quit everything. I quit teaching. I quit working. I basically started quarantining again, but that gifted me so much. Oh my gosh. I created my little Zen space in my bedroom where I would meditate. I would visualize myself getting stronger and healthier. I would cry when I needed to cry. I would let myself feel the emotions. I would scream. Well, I couldn't really scream because I was afraid my port was going to fall out.
But
but
you created like a healing environment for yourself, which I think is
very much
so
so.
important, whether we have we're going through something physically, disease wise or not, like to have
Yeah.
that safe space and that healing
Yeah.
sanctuary and that intentionality. Like that's powerful that you use visualization, like
Mm-hmm.
visualizing yourself get better. Cause so many times that
Mm-hmm.
we're in, the focus is on the disease, right? The focus is on
Right.
the sickness. It's,
Right.
I mean, I would think it's so hard to say like, oh, wait, I need to focus on the well-being and focus on the healing and focus on,
Yeah.
the journey of
Well,
getting better.
and that comes back to what you believe in and what I believe in, holistic healing. I'm not just healing my physical body. I needed to heal my mind, my energy, my emotional state. Like I had to heal myself as a whole, my heart and everything. And if you are rigid and negative and like stressed about listen, it's going to happen. You're going to be that way initially. It's a shock to the body. But when you stay in that fight or flight for too long, you can't heal your whole self as a whole. Like you just can't. You're still trying to hold on to who you were before. You got to break through and break free of that. And and I think also it allowed me to practice my yoga, not just the physical yoga, not the asanas. I was able to practice being yoga, like in every cell of my being. I had a double mastectomy and I had reconstruction and I had 6 rounds of crazy hardcore chemo that just freaking knocked me down. I couldn't practice yoga like I normally do. So it's a way to like also humble me and be like, okay, breathing, sitting on my comfy chair, there's my yoga. Smiling at people as they walk by, there's my yoga. Being okay with this present moment, there's my yoga. It's like it's a great way to live, to be.
That's
So
powerful. Can we go through like the holistic model? And I'll ask you, like, you've already said a lot of those things, but to really like what you did for physical well-being on this healing journey, mental, socially, and then we can also touch on like what do you suggest to people who have a loved one who's going through a diagnosis, and then like that spiritual aspect. And you've pretty much touched on it, but I think if we can break it down that way too, for people listening, it might be even more supportive for them. So like what are the physical things that supported you on this journey?
Well, I would still get out and walk when I can. I think being outside, being in nature, receiving vitamin D and going to the beach, vitamin C or any kind of water, salt water, even if you take a bath with just table salt, that helps to ground you. So I think from a physical standpoint, grounding. I just needed to be in my body and grounded and connected and not so much in my mind because the mind can spiral, right? So I think that, and then obviously physically too, trying to change certain things about what I ate, what I was putting on my body, what toxins was I allowing in? Because like you said before, the only thing we have really control of is on what we say, what we do, and what we put into our bodies or on our bodies, right?
Yeah.
So those things I started to change: cleaner beauty products, cleaner household products. Not necessarily when I was going through chemo, because I could only eat what I could eat, but afterwards trying to bring in a little bit more of a plant-based dominant type of diet. So, that's what I would do kind of from the physical standpoint. I would say from an energetic standpoint, well, maybe I'll go to emotional first, because that's kind of probably easier for some people who are not so into this world that they might be able to connect to. Emotional, I think giving myself the time and the space to feel the feels. Being able to, and this kind of goes along with the support group too, but creating it doesn't need to be a large group, but a few people, it could be one person that you can go to and be your most authentic self to feel your emotions. So whether it's like you pick up the phone and call your best friend or support group or your spouse, just being able to tell people, I feel like dog, what today?
Yeah.
Or I just need to
fully
cry, or I need to complain about something, right? Your vulnerability and your authenticity and being truly just yourself. I did that. I had, my crew of my support team that were my rocks, that I knew there was no judgment, no matter how, I would reach out to them and how I would be. But I also journaled a lot. I love journaling. So that I think helped me a lot also to kind of get some of the emotions out and the thoughts out, process it, get it out of my system, out of my body, out of my energy. So I would do that a lot. Energetic standpoint, I was lucky enough to work with a pranic energy healer.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
It was amazing. She is part of my rock group, and she would clear my cords and clear me out. Days I was doing chemo, one other time a week. She has a whole chemo protocol that she has actually helped multiple women, and probably men too, but multiple women with breast cancer go through and kind of heal from an energetic standpoint. And one thing that she said to me it still sticks with me. It gives me goosebumps, and it's so empowering and beautiful. She said the first day, or actually the day before I was going in for my first chemo, she said, "Crissy, you know what? The chemo, yes, we know it's poison you're putting into your body. We know you don't like taking medicine. I never liked to take medicine before, but I don't want you having a negative relationship with the chemo. So as you're getting the infusions, I broke my arm, but in my foot, as you're getting the infusions put in, say thank you, go where you're needed, and then leave the rest of my body unharmed."
That's powerful.
So on my days of chemo, I did cold capping too. So that's why I have my hair, but I had the cold thing on my head. I've got the stuff going in my port. My husband's in the room. And in my mind, just playing on repeat was my mantra, "Thank you." And because I was so cold, I would also see myself that the sun was beaming on me and giving me warmth and nourishment and all the things. So from an energetic standpoint, that was huge.
Right, because everything's energy, and you could also be like, "This chemo is killing me. This is like, and focused on that, and stayed on that vibration, and that would have also had an influence on your experience."
On the diagnosis, on how I came out on the other side. I mean, how you think and speak is just as powerful as anything, right? So I really tried to, in the beginning, obviously you're just scared and you're saying things, but I think as I was going through it, I never titled it my cancer, the cancer, because I don't want to label myself as, as me, as the cancer, and have that, you know what I mean? So I really tried to kind of stop that. And sometimes I'll say, "Oh, you are not your cancer is not you." but I try not to title myself as my cancer.
That's
And I think that has
powerful.
a
Yeah. And
powerful.
that's important too, right? Like you're
Mhm.
someone who had a cancer diagnosis, but you're not the cancer, right? We're
Right. I
not
mean,
our
because like,
diagnosis, whatever it is.
yeah, everybody has cancer cells in their body. It's just a matter of if they have the right terrain for it to grow and to express and for it to congregate and get bigger and stronger. So I just feel like everybody, it's just important to be proactive about your healthcare before a diagnosis. And we can kind of come back to that at some point. But I think it just reiterates that. Oh, I can't stop reiterating that over and over and over again to people.
I have a question for you, and I'm asking because like I know myself, like I'm quick to blame myself for things.
Hmm.
Did
Hmm.
that ever, and then coaching myself through that, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, right, this is shame and blame doesn't serve any good, right? And we do coach ourselves out of that. Did you ever have a point where you felt like blaming yourself at
Yeah.
all? Like, what did I do? And like, what helped you move through that? Because I think
Yeah.
that can definitely happen as well when we're going through something. We get caught up in the blame and the shame of it. And
Hmm.
let's be honest, like all of us are going to experience hardship in our life.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
imagine dang near everybody, or it's part of the human experience, whether it's a diagnosis of some sort or heavy grief, or it can be another trauma. Like what
Yeah.
helped you not stay in the
The
blame,
blame,
or or that
blame
question of
game.
why, like you said, like you can't ask
Yeah.
yourself why.
Because, I think everybody is different. I think everybody is different. And for me, I don't like to live in the past. So playing the blame game would keep me in that place in time. And the truth of the matter is, I was in that place. I am what I am right now. There's cancer growing in my body. I, Blaming and shaming and doing all of those things is not going to change the fact that it's there. And it keeps you on a low energetic frequency. And again, that is not really where healing can happen.
Right. It's not.
So, but yes, did I go through that? Absolutely. I was on, and this could add to it, but it's not the only thing that made it happen. But I was on birth control for, I don't even know how many years, 20, 30 years. And, oh, should I have gotten off of that? I did go through that. But then again, Crissy, no, you can't stay back there. Bring it right here, right here.
Yeah, and
One
it's
foot in
that
front of the
reminder,
other.
like we make decisions the best we can in the moment, given the information and where we're at, right? Like we're
Yep.
always making the best decision in that moment, even if in retrospect we look back and say, "Oh, was that the best decision?" Right? Like,
Right.
and hopefully we can learn some things from it as well. So you talk about like grace and ease, and I'm sure everybody listening really gets that from you, that you like embrace that, right, as an
Yeah.
intention, as a mindset. Can you speak more to like what that means to you, like grace and ease?
Yeah, absolutely. Once kind of I was either midway through to towards the end of the actual um, treatments and stuff like that, I had realized I had already started to feel my growth, right? I had already seen myself as a new being. And not to say that I did not have hard days. I think it's really important when we talk about grace and ease and we talk about disease or cancers or anything else. I mean, it could be any other thing that's going on with somebody's body, or trauma, any kind of traumatic thing. I think sometimes adding grace and ease and trauma or cancer or something like that, all those words in one sentence, some people could think, oh my gosh, she's just like all like rainbows and sunshines all the time and nothing ever is hard for her. And I have to call BS on that, because I did have my down days. I did have days where I was frustrated, angry, sad, confused, right? But I didn't stay down there for too long. I let myself feel the feels, because emotion stuck in your body does us no good, right? Especially when they're negative ones. So just kind of understanding them, working through them, releasing them, so that I could kind of get back to like just feeling ease. I think about, when I think about grace and ease, I think about spaciousness. I think about connectivity. I feel like it feels more positive and more calming and more zen-like to feel that way rather than angry, stressed, anxious. All of that is your sympathetic nervous system trying to scream and just keep you like this, and then the cancer overrules you and the traumatic system overrules you or situation. But if you're in calm, zen, and gracefully doing things and thinking about things, you're in that like rest and digest, you're in that parasympathetic part of your nervous system. It's just, for me, that's a much more yummy place to be.
Yes, it's therapeutic, right? It's therapeutic rather than being like destructive.
Exactly. So I just feel like helping women get to that place of just being like, you know what, it's a place of acceptance. It's a place of just like, okay, like, I got you, we got this, let's do this. It's connection to me more than anything.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. How would you say for someone like family members, friends, people you worked with, like if they have somebody who's going through a diagnosis, going through cancer, like how can they best support that person who's going through treatment with that grace and ease?
Yeah. I think, again, everybody is so different in how they, number one, want to tell their support system what they want out of their support system, what they need out of their world in general is going to be different from person to person. So what I would say for the women going through it, I would almost like sit down and like do a meditation around or visualization around, what does it look like for me to be supported?
That's a question that can be.
And I didn't do that. And I kind of wish I did. But, people kind of help just like bring that out of me. And I just realized like, I'm a very social person. And again, it's going through COVID. So I couldn't physically see and touch and hug my people. Like I'm a hugger. I love to hug people. And I couldn't do
hugs.
that. Yes. So anybody on the Facebook Live, if you see me, don't worry, I'll hug you. Even if you don't know
she
me.
Gets really good hugs. I saw you on Facebook.
Um,
Can I get one of those?
yes. I'll walk around with like that sign.
Yeah. Free hugs today. Well, people might take you up on that.
But like just, I know some people love meal trains, right? So if somebody likes a meal train, I didn't do one. I'm not into that. I like kind of like cooking my own foods or my own foods type of thing. So, but what a lot of my friend group did, which was amazing, they, every night before my chemo, I would have a huge basket waiting outside of my front door with just
so sweet.
Everything that they thought that I would need or want or just like to have for my chemo, and just to kind of help me along with the journey of just, feeling really down and low and whatever. So that was absolutely beautiful and so helpful. And then people would send me things. I would always get like the funny socks that had a lot of profanity towards cancer. And I would wear those on the days of my chemo. And, just the texts. Sometimes I would just receive a text like, hey, thinking of you. And that was it. That to me was beautiful. The calls coming in, people would just stop and just drop something off at my front door, like a juice or a smoothie. So it was, everybody is different, but I think that just being very open and open your eyes to understand how you need to be supported and being able to speak that truth of that and letting people know, because they don't know what to do. And some people are afraid to text and reach out. Oh, I don't want to bother you. So just letting people know like, hey, please text me. If I don't call you back or I don't text you back, I'm having a down day. Don't worry. It's nothing against you.
But please stay
I know
in touch.
you're thinking.
I love hearing from you.
Yeah. And personally, I did on my social media platform after I was diagnosed, I did do a big post on Facebook. And it wasn't like, hey, I need the attention, or hey, poor woe is me. It was more so of like trying to be an inspiration and letting people know about certain things. And then I created my own Facebook private group with certain people that I invited in, that I would go on there and kind of just let everybody know how I was doing, especially after chemo or the surgeries, and just keep people up to date. I have a lot of friends, a lot of family, all
Oh, you didn't
throughout.
have to individually tell every single person in your community
Yes.
going on, because that would be exhausting for you as well.
Yeah. So I did that, and that seemed to be wonderful, and and your closest support group, they're going through it with you. They really, really are. And I know that they don't always love to cry or show you. They never showed me their emotions about things. But for me, I was like, it's okay, cry. I feel like this is also happening to you because you love me this much.
Yeah.
So for me, I was open to allowing my loved ones to feel their feelings around me. But I know some women that are like, do not cry in front of me. You need to be my rock. You need to be my strength. So again, just kind of knowing that
advocating for yourself. Yeah. Advocating for yourself, because
whatever it is,
don't know unless you communicate with them.
Yeah.
And then I would say, like, the people that don't have a support system, because there's definitely people that don't really have a lot of friends and family.
Yeah.
Would you say like go to a support group, find even virtual support groups?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's, so we live here in Stewart. There's the Robert and Carol, oh gosh, I can't remember the last name of it, but there's the Cancer Center here in Stewart, and they offer support group meetings. They offer yoga, they offer nutrition, they, all of these things. And it goes for almost all of the cancer centers. They have support. That, number one. And on social media, there's all kinds of support groups. The one thing I would say about just being a little careful about the support groups online is that some of them can get a little negative. Some of them can get, a little scary. So for me, I only played in those a little bit. I didn't hold on to everything that everybody said in there, because again, I know everybody is different from how their makeup is, right? I know I said before, we're all one, but we all are different inside. So what you need versus what I would need might be a little different. And how your body's going to react to things is going to be different. So I found some that had a little bit more of the same mindset, the holistic mindset that I have.
Yeah, it's like, take what you need, take what works and applies for you, and leave the rest. And if it's like a toxic support group culture, then keep that in mind. That's not going to support your healing journey.
No,
there's
not at all.
Hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens
there
of thousands
really are.
more of groups, I'm sure. Different platforms.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being so open and honest and sharing, about your journey. If there was like a tip or a few more things you would add, and it could be related to, the specific aspect of your journey or life in general, what would you share? What would you say?
So I'll do it in maybe three parts.
I know it's hard to choose one, isn't it?
I know.
I'm like, and this is really important too.
I would say, number one, pre-diagnosis of anything, right? Of anything. Get yourself strong, healthy, connected to yourself. Because if you eat well, you move well, you think better, you're more clear-minded, you are putting yourself first, right? So being a very connected person to your overall being, what you've put in your body, what you eat, what you drink, how you move, how you think, it goes for all three levels, pre, during, and post as well. But be proactive, right? Rather than reactive. We obviously live in a medical system that we're very reactive. Like, okay, you've got this now let's try to whatever. But being proactive about your health is so huge. During, give yourself the grace and the ease to be in it. Give yourself the time and the space to learn from it. Just allow yourself to grow from it. Right.
Because it can be so I need to rush this process. Get me out of this. This is hard.
Yeah.
Like even
And there
spiritual
are days.
bypassing, like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got the lesson. Let me go. And it's like, you have to like work with the pace of healing, which, you know, we influence,
Yeah.
but it's not entirely up to us either.
Yeah. And the timing is different for everybody,
Yeah.
right? So not comparing yourself, again, another yoga quality, not comparing yourself to others and others' journeys, just being with you and understanding what's going on for you. And then, post any traumatic situation or cancer or diagnosis is okay, you just went through all of that. What are you going to change about it now? You can't go back to being the same person you were before and doing and eating and thinking all the same things. You got to do something with it now. You got to be different. So, and not going down the rabbit hole of reoccurrence. That's a very scary thing. Not going to lie, I did it for a little bit of time. And I said, no, 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 I am thinking too much about the future. I'm not being present. So again, just taking your life into your own hands and seeing, well, what can I do now? Whether it's I'm changing my diet, reading more books about holistic healing, reading more, books about or documentaries about just being clean eating and whatever. And knowing that there are so many beautiful healing practices out there, just find what connects to you. Right? Just find what connects to you and then just be open to receiving, to learning more, to growing, and to becoming better than you were yesterday.
And I love that you have that approach, because when you talked about what got you into yoga, right? It's like you didn't have the whole, I'm going to be a teacher teach and lead retreats and workshops and all this stuff when you started. You were just like, oh, this sparks my interest. I'm going to check this out and see how it goes. And then it evolved. And I think it, even with post-diagnosis, it's important to follow that curiosity and really just hone in that you don't have to have the whole big picture figured out. Because I think that's something we can get caught up in as well. And it might even stop us, right, from trying these different healing modalities. Because it's like, well, I don't know if that one's going to work, or I'm going to like that. That's okay. You might not like it, but it's like, give it a try. Try it a couple times, few times. And if it's not
the
for you, it's not for
curiosity.
you. Yeah.
Right. Just being curious and just not having an attachment to the outcome, just being curious, like, hey, maybe this will work. And here I am 12, 13 years later. And, I just love teaching other people to connect to themselves and just learning more and more about the body. I mean, since my diagnosis, I did a certification on yoga for cancer recovery. I got a certification in yoga and lymphatic system. I got a certification in traditional Chinese medicine and yoga, learning just more about acupressure and, and those are just little doorways to learning more and more about how we can take our power into our own hands and also help ourselves heal ourselves in conjunction with, traditional or conventional care as well.
And to think if 13 years ago, you were just like, no, I don't know if I'm going to like that. I'm not going to do it. How your journey would have been so much different.
Gosh.
And how many people you've connected with over the years through yoga and through these other practices. And now it's led you to learn all these other cool things that you just mentioned, which I saw you have a series. It's probably coming to an end for lymphatic.
Yes. But I am going to be doing a workshop at Lotus Loft, probably sometime in December. I'm still kind of finalizing the dates, but we will be doing a 2-hour workshop on the lymphatic system in yoga and just teaching the students who come, the beautiful humans that come, it could be guys and girls, on, how to activate your lymphatic system and how we just do it through movement and through yoga. And of course, I'll throw a lot of the beautiful, energetic pieces and mental pieces and blissful pieces into it that I do in all of my yoga classes anyways, but with the emphasis on helping to move the lymphatic system, which I'm becoming more and more of a like a diehard for it. I'm so
lymphatic system.
So excited.
That's how I am with the nervous system. I'm like that with the nervous system. I'm like, somebody said it was boring one day. I was like, people think that this is boring. I'm like, I had no idea. I think it's the best thing ever. That's cool. I'm going to try to get to that once you pick out the date and if I'm putting it on my calendar. And how else can people connect with you, or work with you?
So I do work here locally in Palm City. I teach at Lotus Loft, and I also do a lot of private sessions as well. A lot of my clients are actually Zoom. They're all throughout the United States, and then I do some in person as well. And you can get all of the information of everything that I do, any events that I do. I've been really doing a lot more workshops and finding that they are very impactful to a lot of the students that come. And I put everything up on my website. So it's Crissy, and that's CRISSY at healinginharmony.net, I believe. And
Perfect.
then, yeah. And then I know you were going to put it up in the
Yep,
the
I listed
chat.
it. So it's listed in this at the top of this video as well. So people can see it, and
Great.
yeah, and then they'll see you on there, and they can also connect with you on Facebook.
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Yay.
so much. It was so
Thank
great to
you.
see your face and connect with
I
you. Thank you
know.
so much for sharing.
Yes, this was wonderful. Thank you for just opening up the platform. And, I know that our conversation, both with everything that you stand for and believe in, and everything that I stand for and believe in, we are person by person making an impact in the world. So thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you. It's
for
so important we
allowing me
have
to.
these conversations, right? This is how we
Yeah.
learn. This is how we heal. This is how we grow. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Crissy.
All right.
See
Mwah.
you
Bye,
soon.
love.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, everybody.